Hey guys, today's devotion is based upon what it means to love God with all of your mind. Begin trying to contemplate and ponder the wonder of who God is and the way He does things, recognizing there's some things that we don't understand, some things we never will. That's why we call it faith, where we believe in the things that we just battle with our own minds. If we understood everything, then we wouldn't need faith, would we? But today, in our contemplating of what it means to love God with all your mind, we said yesterday that God so loved the world. That means you. And the other object of His love in that beautiful John 3:16 verse, where it says, God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever is the next object of God's love. The world is one thing, but the whosoever of the world is yet another. We spoke yesterday about the fact that there is nobody that God does not love. There is nobody that is moved beyond the realm where God can love them, because God is love. He doesn't have to try to be loving because He is love. But this whosoever is a great word, where it is so incorporating of every single aspect of life. Just have a look at Jesus for a while when Jesus was on earth, and you see Him demonstrating love to the whosoevers of life. And Jesus epitomizes God's love as Jesus in the flesh lived amongst us. And people were confused by Jesus' whosoever. They say, Jesus, why would you want to hang around with those people? Jesus, surely you wouldn't want to touch a leper. Surely you wouldn't want to reinstall an adulterous woman into normal life and tell her to go and sin no more, that she's forgiven. Jesus, we would never do that. And we know what the law says. Why would you do that? And Jesus, whosoever, it was so broad and incorporated so many different aspects of humanity. Whosoever. And it's the beauty of this whosoever that Jesus shows us in His love for sinners and His love for tax collectors and the whosoever. Now, Jesus told a great parable in Matthew chapter 22 that illustrates this beautifully. He says there was a king wanted to have a banquet, so he called his servants. They prepared the banquet, and the invitations were sent out. And the who's who of society were all invited. Everybody who was anybody in society's eyes was invited. King was excited about his party and the whosoever that were going to come, the whosoever that they thought would be his chosen ones. But there was people wrote back and said, oh, listen, we actually can't come to the party. We'd really like to be there, but, I've just married a wife and she's a bit of a handful, so I've got to spend some time with her. I've just bought a business. I've got to go and help these people get the business going. I've just bought some oxen. I've got to teach them how to plow with these things. And so thanks for the invite, but I won't be there. And we read how the king was so deeply disappointed that people who he thought would respond to his invitation chose to ignore it. So he says, go into the highway and the byway and invite the whosoever of humanity to my party, because my place must be full. Oh, I'm so glad that he did that. I'm so glad that I got an invitation to the table that I did not deserve to go to. I'm so glad that he came into the highways and the byways and gathered people like me and many others who would identify this and say, wow, you mean God chose me? Indeed he did. You mean God has invited me? Indeed He has. To the table of fellowship with Him. We are part of the whosoever of humanity. Maybe today, in this very short devotion, I just want you to think, maybe you're sitting thinking of this stuff, and I've spoken to a few folk recently who are saying, can God really love me? Does God really know what I have done? And I'm saying, absolutely He does. There is nothing He has not seen before. Nothing you have done has shocked Him. He has seen it all before, and yet He has chosen to love you. So maybe today, this devotion is just for you. Maybe you're thinking, God could never love me. Trevor, you don't know what I've done. You don't know the mess that I've made of my life, of other people's life. God would never be able to love me. Well, here's the good news, people. The good news of the gospel of Jesus Christ is that God loves the whosoever, which means everybody. The whosoever of the world, no matter how far you have gone, no matter how low you have stooped, God, in His unique and most amazing way, loves you completely. He loves you unto death. And it says this in the scriptures, that even though we are dead in our trespass and sin, God still loves us, and Jesus died for us, even when we were dead. Apparently, God loves dead things. God doesn't dress them up like we do with the law. We'll take the law and we'll try and address our deadness by bringing us back to life by saying to something that is dead, obey the law. There's no logic in that. But God does not dress the dead. God loves those who are dead in their trespass and sin. You've got to get this, because this is the essence of the gospel and the Christian faith that we love so much. I hope that you can grasp that today, people. And then maybe you're feeling, I'm so dead in my trespass and sin that Jesus could never love me. Might love somebody else, but he wouldn't love me. Well, here's the good news. He really does. That's the second day I have told you this. I hope you're getting it. God bless you guys. Have a fantastic day. Go and enjoy it.